On December 9th, 1979, an international commission of scientists declares that smallpox has been eradicated from the earth. Smallpox is considered the deadliest disease in history, causing over 300 million deaths in the 20th century alone. It is highly contagious and deadly, killing about 30% of those infected. Smallpox may go back thousands of years, perhaps as far as 10,000 years ago. Many believe that Egyptian pharaoh Ramses V died of the disease in 1145 BC. Modern research, however, indicates that smallpox may be younger, perhaps developing as recently as 500 years ago. A type of inoculation for smallpox develops in China by the 16th century, where a person is infected with a weakened version of the disease that causes milder symptoms and results in future immunity. Smallpox comes to the Americas with the arrival of Europeans. The disease devastates the New World's indigenous peoples, killing at least 50% and maybe as much as 90% of the population. On the advice of military surgeons, General George Washington inoculates his troops at Valley Forge during the American Revolution. Rather than chancing that the men could catch the respiratory form of the disease, pus from infected patients is harvested and introduced directly into the men's bloodstream through cuts on the skin. The inoculation does kill about 2% of Washington's soldiers, but a respiratory outbreak could have wiped out half his army. In 1796, English country doctor Edward Jenner discovers the first vaccine for smallpox. Jenner purposefully infects patients with the much milder disease cowpox, which provides immunity from the related smallpox. In fact, the word vaccine comes from the Latin word vacca, which means cow. Vaccination efforts in Europe and the US begin in the 19th century and continue into the 20th. Since the smallpox virus lives only in humans, eradication is simpler than from most other epidemic diseases like polio or malaria. The last U.S. outbreak of smallpox is in 1949. In 1967, the World Health Organization begins a worldwide effort to identify and stamp out the last remaining outbreaks of the disease. By the mid-1970s, it is only present in the Horn of Africa and parts of the Indian subcontinent. The last naturally occurring case is diagnosed in Somalia in 1977. With the 1979 declaration, smallpox becomes the only infectious disease afflicting humans that is officially eradicated. Here are other events that happened today in history. In 1831, German Jewish financier and philanthropist Baron Maurice de Hirsch is born in Munich. In 1835, Texas takes possession of the town of San Antonio during its War of Independence. In 1917, during World War I, Ottoman forces surrender the city of Jerusalem to the British. In 1965, A Charlie Brown Christmas makes its TV debut, featuring a score by jazz musician Vince Guaraldi. In 1990, Lech Walesa wins a landslide victory to become the first directly elected Polish leader. In 1992, British Prime Minister John Major announces the formal separation of Charles and Diana. In 2023, Shohei Ohtani agrees to a 10-year, $700 million free agent contract with the Dodgers. And now, it's time for our Today in History quiz. Who won the first ever Nobel Prize in Physics? Guglielmo Marconi, Wilhelm Röntgen, Albert Einstein, or Niels Bohr? Think you know the answer? Drop your guesses in the comments below. Find out if you're right tomorrow on Today in History.